It's checking in with Anthony and Glenn, teaching you to be the hotelier that you wanna be. It's checking in with Anthony and Glenn.
Anthony.
Why do I miss you? And I've seen you like every week for the last 8 weeks, but somehow I saw you this morning. I said, oh, I missed that guy.
Yeah, I had this odd attraction to you too, Anthony. I'm not quite sure I understand what it's completely about, but I'm going to just try to go with it for the sake of the show.
All right, buddy. You know what I like or what I hate?
What?
I don't know.
You don't know what you like or what you hate.
What I like is I like when I go into a building or into a house and like the paint is perfect.
Yeah.
And you know what I hate? When there's a chip on the wall.
Oh my God.
I can't stand that.
I can't stand that either. As a matter of fact, I was in a hotel last week, and it seems like I've been in a hotel every single week this year, and it just appeared to me that there were like chunks taken out. It looked like a lot of wear and tear. All of these things that I feel should be easily avoidable.
You know what the problem is? Not the problem, but the challenges in the hospitality business is.
Yeah.
Everybody is so busy being busy, and we're in meetings, and we're in executive meetings, and we're in budget meetings, and CapEx meetings, and meetings to know what meetings we're going to. And then when we get there, we say, what meeting are we going to next? And we don't really concentrate on guest service, and we don't concentrate all the time on the little imperfections in the building. And I think when you get everything right, I was walking through, I'm going to say, I was walking through the Encore the other day in Vegas, and I got to tell you something. I couldn't find one little scratch mark. I couldn't find a piece of carpet that was dirty. I couldn't find a uniform that didn't fit people. I couldn't find anything that was incorrect, for lack of a better term.
I think that's run by Marilyn Spiegel, so congrats to her on putting it together.
And it's such a huge hotel with so much traffic, and it's just perfect. And it really speaks to you when something is just, when all the little details. It's like looking at someone that's dressed well. It doesn't have to be your taste when you look at someone and say, oh, that's maybe not my favorite dress or my favorite jacket or suit. But when it's all put together perfectly with the hair and the earrings and the shoes and the tie and the cufflinks, when it's all put together, you just feel it. And if there's one thing out of line, it just doesn't work. And why am I talking about this, Glenn? Because it just came off the top of my head.
Yeah, not just because it came off the top of your head. And I will make this perfect segue all about the details and making sure that your property is in great condition and some strategies in order to do that. But I think what we're talking about right now is the hospitality industry is actually terrific at what they do. So many amazing hoteliers out there, so many amazing folks that are working at the property levels. And it's not a matter of feet that you have to go. It's a matter of little increments, those little millimeters, those little tiny details that all add up and aggregate to make a great experience. Well, and when you don't hit those details, negativity kind of strikes.
Well, I was talking about yesterday. I was just talking offline with you.
Yeah.
That I was at a school doing a little leadership program for 11-year-olds. And I talked to them. I actually, first time ever, I put pictures of myself, 11 pictures from when I was born till now. And when I was in high school, when I was in the military, when I worked at a deli, and I talked about every moment, about every one of those pictures, and that every one of those pictures, the one thing that runs through from the day I was born till now is that I always cared about the detail, and I always cared about doing a good job. I never cared about credit, and I never cared about celebrity or anything like that, or money. I just cared about not disappointing someone. And those pictures really tell the story of that. No matter where I was in the world or where I was in my career or my life, it was always the details. The details matter. And when you walk into a bathroom and you see mold, or you walk into a room and you see scuff marks all over the walls, or you see carpet that's dirty, the hotel's disappointing you.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like you just said the word scuff, so perfect opportunity to bring in our guest today. He's Mr. Mike Mundweller of Benjamin Moore, and you're the Field Integration Manager, as well as this other title that I don't quite understand, NACE International Certified Coating Inspector, Level 3.
So am I.
No way.
Level 4, though.
Oh, well, good, nice showing off. We got to one up our guest here, Mike. That's kind of that's our policy on checking in.
Well, absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you, Anthony and Glenn, for inviting me. Love to be here today, especially as you are great advocates for the hotel industry, which is a very important segment to us at Benjamin Moore.
We are?
Very important segment to Benjamin Moore.
We're good for the industry.
I don't know about you personally, but I think the show is good for the
that's
industry.
Great.
But also, Anthony, because you are out there, you are, you've been on TV for a lot of years out there helping hoteliers take care of the big issues and all of the little details that are out there. And that's why I wanted to talk to Mike today, all about some of those little details and about how you could make some of those most challenging high-traffic commercial environments just be crisp, clean, and a little bit better.
But before you do that, and before you have to come a little closer to the mic. Okay, thank you. Just like this, about a fist, yeah. So one of the things I want to ask you is, how does one get into paint?
That's great.
Get into paint?
Very, very common question. Quite honestly, I've been in my 33 years in the business itself. I really don't know how I did get into paint. I believe it was just a resume sent out to a large organization.
Chalk wouldn't accept you or something?
I after graduation from college, quite honestly.
What did you graduate in?
1986.
No, but what did you study?
Business administration, marketing in particular.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, kind of a funny story behind that. I was not a very good student, but my parents were very pleased that I was getting ready to graduate. And 2 months prior to my graduation, my parents took me on a congratulatory trip to Hawaii, and subsequently they had good friends who were the general managers of the particular property we were staying at. And at that time, I said to my mom and dad, I think I'm going to change my major to hospitality management. Now, remember, this is 2 months away from my graduation, to which you can imagine how not pleased my parents were at the time. So, hospitality has always been in my blood, even through college. I've had the great honor and pleasure of working with a number of properties in 33 years throughout North America. And subsequently, I'm also a frequent guest. I think last year I did 160 nights in hotels.
160?
160
Did that beat you?
In hotels.
Yeah, totally beat me and shamed me pretty darn good.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that might be I think that might be my top. 160 is maybe my top. Last year I probably did about 100. So what are you a gold member? What's your
lifetime membership or lifetime status? I should say it at a major organization, and not that I'm counting, but another major organization. I'm 39 nights away from lifetime top status at that particular organization.
Wow!
Yeah, on one hand, it's like that's great, and on the other hand, it's like, holy crap! I spent my life on the road.
Well, quite honestly, it's afforded us many great things. Me and my family, great vacations. Not that when you've flown 1.5 million miles, you really want to jump right back on a plane, but for the family, absolutely.
So let me ask a question.
We've been all over the world.
So you graduate, you send out resumes, and you wind up at Benjamin Moore?
No, wound up with another company, part of that, Olympic Stain Lucite Paint. Went to from Missouri, where I graduated, to Charlotte, North Carolina.
I spent 5 years in Missouri at Whiteman Air Force Base.
Oh, sure. Well, thank you for your service.
Where'd
first
you graduate?
Of all, Southeast Missouri State.
I've never
down
been
in
to
Cape Girardeau,
Missouri,
Missouri.
but I hear you have the barbecue.
We're not talking to you, Glenn. What's happening?
I'm just trying over here.
At Cape Girardeau. It's down in the Boot Hill of Missouri.
Okay.
Yes.
On the Ozarks, Lake Ozark?
No, Ozarks are more central. Central of the state. This is down in the Boot Hill.
Well, I was in the greatest city in Missouri, Knobnoster.
Knobnoster.
Did you ever hear
Knob-
Knobnoster?
Oh, absolutely. I at one time lived in Kansas City, so we'd pass through Knobnoster.
My first hotel was in Overland Park, Kansas at the Embassy Suites.
Very familiar with that hotel. I can picture it to this day. I've stayed there, as a matter of fact.
Why with the bar
So-
right in the middle? It still looks the same.
Absolutely still looks... Oh, I haven't been in a while.
Matter of fact, before I came to this podcast, I had breakfast with a gentleman named Bob Legler, who was my first boss ever in the hotel. I worked at Whiteman Air Force Base. I was in the Air Force. And on the weekends, I wanted to work in the hotel because when I got out of the Air Force, I wanted to be in the hotel business. And I walk into Embassy Suites in Overland Park with my friend Jeff Hoover. And he's helping me try to find a job in the hotel business. And I walk in and I get an interview with a gentleman named Bob Legler. And Bob looks at me and he goes, "Nice tie." And I was like, "Thank you." I'll never forget that. And he launched me into the hotel business. I just had breakfast with him this morning.
Oh, fantastic. I lived very close to that hotel for 7 years when I was working for Benjamin Moore.
Yeah.
So.
I want to add something to this conversation. I don't wear ties, so I can't really participate. here. So anyway, when you're at a hotel, right? I'd love to talk a little bit more about what you do and how you're helping hoteliers.
I want to find out how you got into Benjamin Moore first.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not going to let you go ahead until I want to know the first day, how the resume got on Benjamin Moore's desk, how you started working, what was your first job.
Well, I do know how that happened. As a matter of fact,
I hope you do know how it happened.
My wife and I, we had just had our first, and we were in
your
Detroit,
first what?
First child,
Oh, that's good.
son.
There was like first gallon of paint or something.
And we were.
It was a beige, and I thought we could do better.
we had gone from Charlotte to Houston to Detroit.
You know she's not getting any of our jokes, right?
No, it doesn't matter. As long as I'm amused and you're amused.
And I was contacted by Benjamin Moore while
Right.
I was running a territory for another company in Detroit, Michigan. And they asked me if I would be interested in Houston, Texas. And as a Midwesterner, I always thought that if I can get someplace warm, I'm going, which really doesn't explain how I've gotten moved to New Jersey subsequently, but I do like warm places. And so I started my first 4 years with Benjamin Moore.
What was
in
your first
Houston.
job there?
It was a sales rep, calling on, ironically, a lot of hotels.
How do you do that? You just call a hotel and say, hey, we have great paint, like, see me?
Well, no, I was very young at that time, and as many of us have matured, we really gained a greater understanding of what is truly important to our customers. For example, they have needs, and these needs include such things as not only the appearance, but also too. Being that Benjamin Moore has been such a great, innovative company, we're able to manufacture products that truly solve hoteliers'
But how
needs.
do you tell a young person that's getting into sales, whether they're selling insurance, selling paint, selling cars, selling whatever? How do you? Because I'm not a good salesperson. Like if you say no to me, I'm like, all right, bye. You want to have an ice cream? I'm gone. So how do you, a young person coming up now trying to sell and maybe not having good good experience, like what's the secret of being a successful sales rep? Of course, the standard is, okay, you need a product that the guest needs or the customer needs, and then you got to show them how they need it. Okay, got that. But how do you stick to it? How do you go back to them? How do you close that deal? Like, what's been your
Great
secret?
question.
What's been your success?
Great question, but it is always important, simply put, customer centricity. Make sure that you understand your customer and their needs completely. And we know that there are many challenges
when I say
in the hotel business. Well, the thing about it is it's important that you take the innovation that the company provides you and be able to show the customer how you can make their job.
Right.
Their let's take for example, Scuffex. Scuffex is a great innovative product at Benjamin Moore, to where this particular product it solves one of the greatest financial concerns of hotels itself. When you look at KPIs, when you're looking at anything to do with available rooms, when it comes to hotels, a lot of different metrics, as you are very aware of that. Well, it's about available rooms, and with available rooms, we're able to, and it really started back in the days of our innovation of our Gen X waterborne colorant system, to where it was the first zero VOC colorant system out there.
What the hell does that mean?
Well, what that means is that particular product is VOCs, volatile organic compounds, are regulated throughout North America. And subsequently, we are all for doing our part for bettering the environment.
Right.
So therefore, there are laws that have been enacted. And Benjamin Moore was very brave at the time to say, we just don't want to take an existing colorant system, because we all know how important color is to begin with.
Right.
We just don't want to take an existing colorant system and see what we can take out of it in order to pass the governmental legislations and so forth like that. We took it a step further and said, we're going to have to look at this like we've never made paint before.
Right.
And subsequently with that, and of course a great deal of effort and a great deal of capital went into those types of projects, to where we did make the advancement into the Gen X waterborne coloring system. So that means that any of our products, specifically Scuffex or our other fine products, you're able to have that color availability. And as a matter of fact, the old colorant prior to Gen X degraded latexes, because at that time, the original colorant system was around when oil was the only resin that was used in paint. And, of course, in the 1940s, when great research and development was done, latex came out, and all manufacturers, including ourselves, said, hey, we can use the same colorant. But unfortunately, when that colorant went into a latex or an acrylic-type product, it degraded it, less performance characteristics.
So tell me, I want to interrupt you, because that all, obviously you guys have been on the cutting edge for a very long time. But I want to know, what was your biggest success that looked like your biggest failure? Meaning, when was the time where you knew you needed to get this account, it was important, you knew the customer needed the paint, and for some reason you just weren't being able to close the deal? How did you overcome that? And so what was one of your biggest personal accomplishments in business?
Well, personally, in looking at it from a hospitality perspective, very honored that I was part of the build of a very large hotel in Salt Lake City, downtown Salt Lake City, and that particular hotel was built at the announcement of the Olympics coming to Salt Lake.
Where was the hotel?
It was the Grand America.
Yeah, that's what I just.
So you're familiar with it?
Great
yeah,
America. It's a great hotel, and it's kind of like this 5-diamond retreat right in the heart of town.
Right in the heart of
and
downtown.
you almost think it's going to be such a great resort. It's going to be up in the mountains somewhere.
Right.
And then it's like 5 minutes from the airport, and you're like, boom, in this great environment.
Beautiful hotel.
Yeah.
And when you read my title, you saw the NACE, which is the National Association of Corrosion Engineers. I'm a certified international inspector with NACE. And subsequently, as you can imagine,
you solve crimes as well as sell paint.
No, we're pretty limited when it comes to what we can claim.
That green is a crime. So. We will investigate that.
That is so 1973.
but it's obviously, with, as you can imagine, building a hotel of that size, there are a number of different challenges.
So how do you get that account? I want to get to the skinny. How do you get that account?
We were very fortunate that we have over 5,000 independent retailers throughout North America. And in this particular case, our Salt Lake retailer had the relationship with the family that owns the Grand America, was building the Grand America. Of course, they have the Great America hotel chain that's out there prior to this.
And they have a select service hotel across the street called, I think, Little America, right?
The Little America, yeah. So, and fantastic properties, even to this day. But obviously, we all know with construction schedules, timelines, a lot of moving parts when you're building a big place like that, and challenges do come up, and fortunately, we were able to work through the challenges.
But how'd you get the account?
The account itself was already pre-established with the relationship from our independent retailer.
What was your biggest challenge?
Which, if I could say too, Benjamin Moore really had it right back in 1883 when he said our distribution will be made up of independent retailers. Independent retailers are going to go far above and beyond what typical stores will do. They're part of the community.
So who was Benjamin Moore?
Benjamin Moore was from Ireland and came to New York, and with his brother, they started a paint company. And up
What's
until
it called?
It was called Benjamin Moore. Yeah.
That's so funny, though, because all these companies that we just take for granted that we don't even think about the derivation of.
It was the Moores Brothers Paint, and subsequently it was family owned up until 2000. So when I came on in 1989, it was still the family members of Benjamin Moore.
So where did the Moore family? So it started in
1883.
And where did it start, and how did it start?
How it started right in Brooklyn.
Brooklyn?
Yeah.
New York?
Yeah, Brooklyn, New York. Yes.
Not Brooklyn, Michigan?
Not Brooklyn, Michigan.
Brooklyn, New York. Guess where I'm from?
Brooklyn, New York.
Brooklyn, New York.
Wow.
Where in Brooklyn, New York, do you know?
I do not.
We got to find that out.
Yeah. I think there's a building that's still standing, but and it was fantastic experience going to work for a company that was still family owned, and
so the
I still believe we're family owned today, even we are part of the Berkshire Hathaway organization.
Jimmy Buffett.
Right.
So Buffett owns it, right?
So the company's over 100 years old, which is great. You've been with the company for 30 years now. The question I have in regards to selling is one of the issues that I find is that a lot of folks want to sell products to hotels, but they talk about it from the salesperson's angle. I don't feel that they listen enough to what the actual needs are of the hotelier out there. So what's your strategy for understanding really what the needs are for a hotelier and then pairing them with the right types of products so everyone can feel like they've bought into the process?
Sure, and with that, obviously looking at it from a perspective of your customer, which is extremely important, is you're looking at a product that obviously starts with when you apply the product, that product it dries relatively quickly. And when we talk about room availability in hotels, which is very important, these products, what Genix Colorant was able to do is give us the ability to provide high quality products, a platform of products, but be able to, in the case of a hotel, be able to repaint a guest room that morning with adequate ventilation, be able to provide that room to a guest that night.
Wow.
Extremely good. And also, too, as we progress to talk about the fantastic technological advancement that we made with ScuffX, where ScuffX really takes it a step further is not only does it follow that to be able to paint in the morning and rent the room in the evening, but it's going to reduce the property's labor cost. Why? Because you're going to less repaints when it comes to it. We've got some, even though ScuffX has only been out for about 4 years now, we have some fantastic case studies to where we were able to take situations to where, for example, a major clothing retailer who was repainting their fitting rooms every other week.
Oh, God.
Or touching
Those
up.
things must get really beaten up.
Absolutely no idea what goes on in fitting rooms, but consequently I know that it's a great, it's a very, very harsh environment. Hangers and so forth like that. At the time I remember being called in to ask how we could solve this problem, and I went the traditional route with that. And what I mean by the traditional route is my first recommendation was a pre-catalyzed epoxy.
Right.
Which pre-catalyzed epoxies are fantastic.
What is that?
Well, it's a single component
You don't know what that
acrylic
is?
latex product.
No. I know post-catalyzed epoxies, but not pre ones.
It's a single component product, acrylic latex.
Right.
Matter of fact, you would think you're using just a regular latex product.
Right.
But they're formulated for abrasion resistance.
You know what I love? I don't want to interrupt you. You know what I love about this podcast? I love the fact that if you interview a chef or a person in the cruise line or a person in the hotel business or a person in the car business, they all have their passion.
Yeah.
You hear how he talks about paint? He's talking about paint and using words I've never heard of before, but he's talking about it like he's making a beautiful dinner for like the king.
Well, you don't stay involved in a business for 30 years without really loving what you do, right? And I think that's the overall arching theme of this whole podcast is be passionate about whatever it is that you want to do.
Amazing. As a matter of fact, one of the reasons I got involved with Benjamin Moore, last year I was asked to do a little B2B commercial for you guys, and I was out in Marriott, I believe, in Jersey somewhere, and we did our interview. And I was so excited about the product that I literally said, "I'm not done." I was done. I was done with my contractual obligation, and I said, "I want to add. I want to add to it. I don't feel like I want to do more because I love this idea. It's like solving baldness. I mean, being able to solve the ability to have to repaint a room is like solving baldness. It's like one of the greatest inventions ever. And I was so excited about it. I was running around the hotel, and I met the general manager, and like on the fly, I said, "Why would you use ScuffX? Why do you like ScuffX?" And he told me, he said, "Because, you save money, you save time. Why wouldn't I love it?" It was on the fly, and we used it in the commercial, and it was just completely from his heart and from my heart. And we got it was like two guys getting excited about paint. And it's like, I was there as a person helping you advertise, but I was like really motivated and excited about this because everybody says they have this solution, everybody says they have this product, but no one does. And so the ability to just easily remove something is really critical to a hotel because once you have to shut a hotel room down,
right,
because there's a scuff mark. And again, when you're in a 5-star hotel and somebody's paying $1,500 a night for a room, one scuff on the wall, if we have to repaint that wall, we'll shut that room down. It's going to cost you $1,500. The time the smell gets out. So if you can just immediately eliminate that it's like I said, it's like eliminating baldness.
All right, so I'm struck by the notion that now watching paint dry is actually a fun thing to do, but I also want to know from you. You were mentioning the retail and how they repainted it like every other week. So what was the result of that. When
well,
you, when
the
you use
result
product.
is that we have phenomenal chemists in our laboratory in Flanders, New Jersey. And we're very fortunate that we work for a company that supports innovation, willing to invest in innovation. And these chemists, much smarter than I, happened to come across a new resin at this time, brought in our brand managers, and of course some people with field sales experience. And is there a use for something like this? And obviously at that time at that time we were really trying to solve the problem for our large clothing retailer who was having these issues, and it progressed to such a degree that we now have the product out, ScuffX, and UltraSpec ScuffX is available in 4 different sheens. Starts with a matte, an eggshell, satin, and we've just released the semi-gloss, and the semi-gloss takes it a step further. Obviously, that semi-gloss is a favorite product when it comes to doors or trim and so forth like that. And not only is that product scuff resistant, but that product has an anti-chipping technology in it. And it's very important. And, we talked about what's important to hotel. But it's also
I'm repainting my house this summer. I think I'm going to be using ScuffX.
Yeah, I think we all should be reusing ScuffX. I've been meaning to do my basement over for a long time. We moved into the house about 5 years ago, and we have this horrific bright yellow paint down there. My kids just make fun of me all the time for not doing anything about it. So now we could do it, and they could throw each other against the walls.
And there's more chips and scuffs in my paint than that. And I just painted it a couple of years ago, so I'll be using ScuffX. So. Are there other competitors that are trying to move in on the ScuffX territory?
Well, you just said that everybody says their paint is very good. We do see some that have come out and said that they are scuff resistant, but we created a really innovative test. A great visual demonstration of the way the product works, and simply put, we take a piece of sheetrock, put half the sheetrock is covered with our product, ScuffX, and then of course the competitor, and we're so bold as to take a hard piece of plastic and actually scuff hard.
I did that in the commercial I did last year.
And you see very quickly which one performs and which is. To my knowledge, there is not a product out there that is like it, even though there are some who say. So truly an advancement in the resin by our great chemists in Flanders, New Jersey.
Hey everybody, Glenn here. So listen to this. Cobblestone Hotels is celebrating their 10th anniversary, and man, have they accomplished a lot in the last decade. Already they have more than 150 hotels throughout the United States, but they're in smaller and medium-sized markets. Those markets that the big franchise companies, they're underserving, they're overlooking, and in some cases just ignoring. But Cobblestone is an expert in these markets. And their president and CEO, Brian Wagernes, listen, I've gotten to know him in the last 10 years, and he has worked every job possible, including being an owner and operator. I can personally vouch for how awesome this company is, how awesome he is as an individual, because he understands the importance of finding the right combination of hotel brand and franchise owner. He's also an incredibly dedicated professional. Whether it's a Cobblestone Hotel and Suites Main Street design, Borders Inn and Suites, or one of the newly acquired brands such as Boulders Inn and Suites, Key West Inns, Centerstone Inns and Suites, Cobblestone has brands that range from economy to upper mid-tier, and one that's right for you. Quite simply, Cobblestone Hotels is the franchise for franchise owners. Patrick Mullenix, well, he's Cobblestone's new president of franchise development. Give him a call or check out their website at cobblestonefranchising.com. But give Patrick a call. He's a great guy. I've known him for a really, really long time, too. You can find him at 920-216-0620. That's cobblestonefranchising.com. And tell him Glenn sent you. Also, I want to bring it back to the fact that it seems to have a lot of components that make it very environmentally friendly as well. So you folks were way ahead of that before it really hit the hospitality zeitgeist that is something important. We used to think about sustainability as recycling or not washing towels as often, but it really goes all the way back to the manufacturing process and what chemicals and components are actually utilized in it. So the room, I guess, is a little bit healthier for the actual guest that's in there. I don't know if you could scientifically say that, but it's definitely something that makes folks that are interested in a sustainable environment want to take a deeper look at that particular hotel property.
Indeed. And that's really, when we look at it from, once again, from that hotelier's standpoint, energy consumption is a tremendous cost to any property. And I've worked with a couple of different hotel organizations to where they monitor that consumption, and subsequently something like VOCs, volatile organic compounds, go into that equation, and they reward their properties from a standpoint of using environmentally friendly products, especially when it comes to coatings and so forth like that.
Right.
So when you were 12 years old in your backyard in Missouri, were you thinking about when I'm older, I'm going to be the guru of paint?
No, I thought I was going to be the next middle linebacker at Notre Dame, which I didn't realize they didn't take 5-6 middle linebackers.
You wouldn't be responsible for Scuffex.
And I wouldn't be, well, I'm in no way responsible for Scuffex, but it has been a phenomenal product. Our team, including our brand managers and our great chemists, are the ones that recognize the need and saw that it not only meets
but when you say recognize the need, I would think from the day paint was invented that, preventing scuffs would be the number one priority of a paint company.
I don't know.
Well, sure, but obviously has the technology caught up to be able to achieve that?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Result.
It's like, so it's always been the thing of trying to solve that problem, but technology finally got there.
Technology finally got, and of course there's a number of different things that had to come along with that. Like our invention of our GenX color and platform, to be able to provide 3,500 different colors in there.
Wow. You have 3,500 colors within the Scuffex.
So we can solve your yellow basement problem.
We certainly can with apparently 3,499 other choices.
Right.
Right.
Oh, and by the way, the first Benjamin Moore building was on 55 Atlantic Avenue in Brooklyn.
Oh, yeah?
And the name of the company wasn't Benjamin Moore. It was Moore's Brothers first.
Yeah, I used to live right off Atlantic Avenue.
55 Atlantic Avenue was the first Benjamin Moore.
Wow.
Everything started in Brooklyn, bro. Tiger Woods, first time he ever swung a golf club was at Fort Hamilton in Brooklyn because his father was in the Army. Guess where Michael Jordan was born?
I'm going to guess Brooklyn?
Flatbush Avenue.
Really?
He was there 30 seconds, but he was born in Brooklyn.
Nice.
Yeah. Everything great comes from Brooklyn.
Well, along with that technology change, it really comes along with the paradigm shift. And what I mean by that is you have to think differently.
Right.
The industry, all of us thought of, evaluation of paint by scrubs, which I'm not a big fan of looking at things from scrubs, and the reason why is that they're very subjective. Scrubs. There is a specific test out there that all of us paint companies utilized in order to communicate the scrub resistance of products, which is really, in my opinion, an antiquated type of not very meaningful test. For example, if a product is tested out to achieve 5,000 scrubs, well, let's face it, who actually scrubs one particular place 5,000 times? And what happens to the gloss of the product or the color?
Right.
It doesn't achieve it. So the paradigm shift really with the resin, once we found this resin, is that scrubs are really meaningless. And the reason why is if you've created a product that doesn't scuff or is scuff resistant, why do you need to scrub it to begin with?
Now, I agree with everything you're saying, but I would like to defend the TLC song Scrubs. That is a very meaningful song. So all scrubs are not created equal. I'm curious, though, Mike, you talk a little bit about how it's reducing the need for touch-ups and stuff like that. What's the actual brass tacks on how hoteliers can save money on repainting, on labor, and all of that kind of stuff?
Right.
What are we really talking about here?
Yeah, in particular when it comes to Scuffex itself, once the product is applied, and when you're working with the product, you would think it was just one of our regular high-quality latex type products out there. No different application techniques or so forth like that, but once it is applied on there, and of course it dries very quickly with adequate good airflow in that particular room, you're going to be able to put that room back into service in the evening, and subsequently being that it has the properties of the scuff resistance, you're not having to come back in and touch up and so forth like that. And, I think about it, too, being that I do stay in a lot of hotels. I think about, what do I do when I walk into a room for the first time? Well, typically the first thing that I do when I walk into the room is find the bag stand and throw my bag up on the stand itself.
Right? Hopefully not scuff the wall.
And hopefully don't scuff the wall. That's exactly right. So I was extremely proud when that became one of the major benefits of this particular product, to where I wasn't causing that type of damage by throwing a bag up on the bag stand and so forth like that.
Yeah, I hate when I see that you throw it on the bag stand and there's nothing blocking the wall, and you see all these scuff marks on the wall. Nobody's doing anything about it.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's what it gets to, is creating the ultimate guest experience. You want to create in the guest room the fantasy that no one has ever stayed in that room before. So if you're looking at the walls and they're already beaten up, then that fantasy gets cracked and it takes you out of the moment.
I think you just hit on the number one thing of a hotel, staying in a hotel. Number one priority is when you go into a room, to make believe no one's ever slept in that bed, no one's ever gone to that bathroom, no one's ever taken that shower. A shower in that shower stall is so critical, because once you take that dream away from me, then I get skeeved out. So whether it be a mark or mold or a hair on the bed, it's critical, because that's what you're paying for. I don't want to think about how many people had sex on that bed. I don't want to think about how many people went to that bathroom. I don't want to think about how many people took a shower. And if you see a mark or you see a scuff, you're reminded that you're not the first person in that room.
Right, and I just don't want to be reminded that there are people as equally as disgusting as me staying in these rooms.
That is correct. So at the end of our show,
yes, sir,
we have a thing that we call, and you can't get out of this and give us like an easy answer, because I'll come after you. We have something called Tell Us Something We Don't Know. So I'm going to ask you, it doesn't have to be professional. Matter of fact, I prefer it not to be about paint or professional, but personally, tell us something we don't know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. It's such a straightforward question. It trips everybody up all the time.
Well, I'm tripped up here.
Well, since I know nothing about you, it's probably pretty easy.
What do you love to do?
Oh, I love to see my kids. A great time in our lives, Renita and I, or my wife. We're empty nesters, but still, we love to get back.
How old are your
and see our
children?
Kids. Matt is 30, and Katie is 20. Katie's at the University of Oregon. She's a duck. Matt is in the coatings business in Denver.
Oh, cool. And so, what hobby do you have?
Hobby golf. By all means, yeah.
I'm going to Nashville, Tennessee for the first time ever to play golf with my two friends from high school. I've never been on I've never gone somewhere on a trip to go golfing, so I feel so grown up. I even got a golf shirt.
I can't believe it. I was just gonna give you my favorite barbecue restaurant name down there, Peg Leg Porker. Go check out the Peg Leg Porker when you're down there in Nashville.
There's so many bad jokes about that. Okay,
well, hold on. The gentleman who owns the place actually has a peg leg and is a little bit overweight.
Peg leg porker. So, yes. Glenn, tell us something we don't know.
Unlike Mike over here, I'm secretly relieved when my kids lock themselves in the room and I don't have to talk to anybody and I could be left alone.
Well, because your kids aren't 30 and 20.
No, they're 15 and they love the computers.
So they're still they haven't become human yet.
Right, exactly. And sometimes, I'm in that sweet spot between having to pay hyper-focused attention to them so they don't accidentally kill themselves by doing something dumb around the house. And they haven't moved out yet. Now they don't want to have too much to do with me. Unlike some nights I'm home, I'm just freaking tired. I just want to be left alone. They oblige me, and I still can feel like I'm a good parent. How about you, Anthony? Tell us something we don't know.
My two daughters are home from college, my twins. They're going to be their junior year next year. And they were home, and I get up in the morning, and I didn't have anything to do. I didn't have to be out of the house until, I think, later in the afternoon. And I saw them both on the ground floor, and I said, "What are you doing?" They go, "We're going to breakfast." And I said, the first time, because they haven't taken my car by themselves yet, I said, "Well, take my car." And they were like, no, we want to take our bikes because we're going to get some exercise. We're going to go for breakfast. And then I held my breath and go, can I come? And they're like, yeah.
Nice.
I was like, you're going to go bike riding with Daddy on the boardwalk? Okay, let's go. It happened 2 days ago. I was like so excited.
Wow, that's amazing. And maybe one of these days I'll be able to do something with my kids, which will be a lot of fun. I got to take them. I got to take this.
When are you going to clean those glasses, bro?
I clean them all the time, but I'm not used to glasses yet. So they get smudgy all the time.
Yeah,
I got to
these
get
are like the most smudgy glasses I've ever seen in my life.
Well, that's why I put them on and I can look at you. I don't have to see a crystal clear picture. Mike, before we wrap up, we like to end all these shows with a great shameless plug. How could we find more about ScuffX?
ScuffX, obviously, it is information on the webpage, www.benjaminmoore.com, ScuffX. You'll see the product there. Also, too, I would really like to invite any of our listeners to be able to reach out and contact their Benjamin Moore rep. Service is key. The hotel industry is very important to us at Benjamin Moore. And I do have a number that if you do not know who your Benjamin Moore rep is, please feel free to text, and we can connect you with a rep.
What's that number?
The number is 888-506-6320.
You want to say that one more time?
888-506-6320. Text the number, and we will connect you with your Benjamin Moore rep. And
Beautiful.
Thank you for your business.
All right. Well, thank you for visiting.
All right. I would like to say you can find us on social media. Anthony, how do we find you?
You find me anywhere you want to be on the internet at Anthony Hotels.
And I am at Traveling Glenn, also wherever you want to be on the internet. And if you haven't subscribed to our show yet, this is a perfect time to do it. Just go over to iTunes, Google Play, or anywhere finer podcasts are found. Just type in Checking In with Anthony and Glenn. You'll find us. Hit that little subscribe button, and you'll get our shows each and every episode. And you won't have anything to worry about. So, for Mike, Anthony, and myself, Glenn, thanks for checking in.
It's Checking In with Anthony and Glenn, teaching you to be the hotelier that you wanna be. It's Checking In with Anthony and Glenn.